I want to show you guys some examples of how easy it can be to have an idea in your head and put it on screen. And we're going to use a few tools that I've really been loving lately to do it. So first off, let's say I wanted to put a big splash of light across this wall back here, and I wanted to do it in like 2 minutes. Is that possible? Yes. First, we're going to fuel up. Grab our second camera. So the first piece of kit I want to talk about is something that I used in this big short film that I just made called The Lost Fortune of Oliver Brody. Man, we shot a lot of BTS out there in Washington, out in the soundstage here in Los Angeles. Can't wait to show you guys the whole process of making that. But first off, it would have been really hard to do some of the effects that we were doing in that film without this, the RF10. And the reason that beginner filmmakers especially need something like this is one of the hallmarks of a low budget novice short film is just open white walls with nothing on there, no set dressing whatsoever, just bland, flat, boring walls. And if you don't have the time or money to get art on the walls so it looks like a lived-in space, just cut some light on that wall and now you have something going on. That's exactly what I did in my Datsuzoku short. It's just a big white wall because I don't have shit hanging up in my bedroom, so we just threw a shaft of light coming through from the sun and it makes the image look nice all of a sudden. It's basically a flashlight. Zoomed in, zoomed out. So you can change how big of a circle of light you're getting. You can dim it down, that's as dim as it goes. Sort of RGB has these baked in colors, but here's the reason this thing's so useful. It comes with this, basically a little snoot, and then you put one of these in here. It comes with like 30 of these. These are called gobos. They're basically just shapes. You slide it into this rubber snoot, so we know how we're gonna achieve this effect, right? But we need a way to mount this thing. We need to mount it fast. We want no friction, right? That's where I've been loving this thing. This is a magic arm with a clamp on the end of it here. See that? From Smallrig. This is the 22-inch magic arm and clamp combo. Comes with a phone mount on the end of it. So it does make it really good for getting like a BTS shot. For example, I could mount it to my desk like this, like that. Then you can just throw your phone in here. Now we have a nice little overhead shot. Now let's go back to what we were shooting. We don't actually need the phone mount part. This 1/4-inch mount is what I want. Now the cool thing about the flashlight, it has 1/4-inch mounting holes built into the side and one on the bottom too. The idea is we'll just mount this up on my curtain rod and then I can get this out of the shot and point it at the walls. Cut some light in here. Bump up the ISO of this guy. Lower these front lights, something a little more like that. But how cool, right? We just created a shape of light. If I want to change the color, tap it. Pretty cool. This one's actually really useful. Let's try that out. Now we're talking. Now we got a slit of light across our image and it's looking pretty cool. Actually, I just noticed, if you ever run into this situation like this where there's just an insane reflection or a hot spot on a piece of glass, or if it's a mirror and you're getting a reflection of something that you don't want to see, take some gaff tape, pull out a piece, roll it up, sticky side out, and then just cheat the angle of the thing away from the light. Yeah, somewhat better. All right, let's get back to it. Now look, this little guy isn't without his weaknesses, but if you want to be able to shape light and you're not working with a ton of light in the room already, there's really nothing better. It's so easy to use and it's only 53 bucks at full price, but on Prime Day, you can get it for the great, great deal of that. Next up, the TribeX tripod. Wow, I love this thing. The speed and ease of setting it up with this one trigger to adjust the height of all the legs at the same time. And tripods are so important. They're kind of unsexy to talk about, but man, like a good tripod and getting comfortable with a tripod, very important for a filmmaker, being able to set up a shot with intentionality behind it. That's the whole reason I bought this really expensive Sachtler Flowtech leg system when that came out. And it's a great tripod, I love it. I'll probably have it for the rest of my life. So let's do a little showdown between the two tripod loves of my life, the Sachtler Flowtech and the Smallrig TribeX. First of all, when you raise the center post all the way on the TribeX, you're getting the exact same amount of height as the Flowtech legs give you. I believe they have a similar payload capacity, at least with the head that I have on the Flowtech legs. Now, Sachtlers are known for having really nice tripod heads, and I have the Ace XL on these Flowtech legs, and yeah, it pans and tilts incredibly smoothly. Is the TribeX as good of a tripod head as the Sachtler one? No, not quite. But look, I'm still able to get super smooth pans and tilts on the TribeX, and that's all I really care about, so I'm not going to complain about it. Plus, look how low to the ground the TribeX can go. You basically don't need a hi-hat when you're using this thing. And there's all these little nooks and crannies where they've hidden little tools like this screw that's inside the tripod head. If you take this hook out of the bottom center post, you get an Allen wrench out of it. Another thing that drove me crazy about the Sachtler tripod head is it's a slide-in plate. You have to slide the plate in from the right direction. You can't just top load it in. So being able to top load my camera in, you know it's just gonna work no matter what. One thing that's really important with video tripod heads is that it has a counterbalance system built in. The TribeX fortunately does. This means when you're tilting forward or backwards with the camera, it doesn't continue tilting forwards until it just tips over. It has a little spring built in that will resist the weight so that when you tilt forward, it will just sort of naturally rest in that position. The feet couldn't be easier to snap on and off, so you can get your spikes or you can get your padded rubber feet. So while the Sachtler has its strengths, at the end of the day, 4 out of 5 times now, I'm grabbing the TribeX instead, because instead of 3 clasps to adjust the legs, I only have to do the 1 trigger, and the tripod weighs less, and for my purposes, it's just easier. Oh, and did I mention that even at normal retail price, the TribeX is less than half the cost of the Sachtler setup. So yeah, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but I would buy this over and over again. If your camera rig fits in the payload capacity of this, there's no quicker way to start shooting, and so many more people should be using this. This isn't even a tripod. This is a do pod, you know, like Yoda says, do pod or do not pod. There is no tripod. And Prime Day is gonna be the best time to get this thing. Check out this discount. Don't miss out if you're interested in that tripod. So I was out there in Washington making the film. I was using this director's monitor, and I always had it powered up first with my Smallrig 100-watt battery, and that got me through half the day, almost exactly every day. And we had lights that were powered off V-mounts. We had this that was powered off V-mounts, and started to burn through them a little too quickly. So I realized when I got back, it's time to invest in some more V-mounts. That's why I got this guy. VB212 it's called. So this is twice as powerful as this 99-watt guy. Cool thing about it is you can charge it with USB-C. So if you're maxing out your 2-bay V-mount battery charger like I was that entire shoot, USB-Cs are everywhere. And you know, Caleb Pike from DSLR Video Shooter put his name on this thing. Everybody's getting their name and their face on a product. Smallrig, let me know. I got ideas. How about a battery that you hand crank so you never run out of battery? I don't know, I got ideas, okay? Now look, this is a pretty pricey battery. To me, it's worth it because it's not only a piece of camera equipment, it's just a tool around the house. If the power goes out or I need to bring power on the road, I can plug my computer into this, get power delivery, cell phones, anything. I just have a large source of power. But if you just want to power your camera rig, just get the VB99 SE. This is a much lower priced battery. Still has a little readout screen. You got your D-tap port here, and a slew of ports, USB-C, USB-A, and then 2 DC ports. This gets the job done at a much lower price, even has a core wrench mounting thread at the bottom. By the way, speaking of that big short film that I spent so much money on using this stuff, I spent a lot of money on it. I don't know if I said that. So if you want to buy any of this stuff, please do me and yourself a favor by using the link in the description, because it won't cost you anything extra, but it will certainly help me out because I did go broke making that short film. I mean, hell, even if you're not buying any of this stuff, if you're gonna buy stuff on Prime Day, maybe just like come back, click on the video, click on one of those links, and then anything you buy, I'll get a couple of % out of it. I gotta rebuild the coffers, guys. I got dust in there right now. All right, let's check this thing out, huh? Take a gander at this little guy. Doesn't seem like much, right? Just a little box. This is the RC220B Pro. Here's why I love this thing so much and why it was probably the most clutch thing that I personally brought to set. 220 watts of power, and it's so small, the V-mount plate is built directly into the back of it. And this is very handy because anytime I'm using these LED lights, very rarely am I just plugging them into the wall. I'm trying to move quickly. Get a battery, do that, and then move it wherever you want. So convenient to have this tiny compact form factor with the V-mount plate built in on the back, and you get a surprising amount of power out of this thing. Striking, there it goes. Now with the V-mount battery, it's only gonna go up to 68% power. So if you do want full power, you're gonna have to use this instead of the V-mount plate. This is just like the power supply, and there's a little power cord on the back there for your wall power. That'll get you up to 100%. It's bi-color, okay? So I can go warm, cool. As built-in effects, we made heavy use of this fire effect. Don't get it twisted. There was a lot of lantern light in the film, but in reality, a lot of that was off screen with this guy pointed at the subject, ramping up and simulating that lantern effect. And just to show you how compact this thing can be, when I put the little 99 watt battery on, this is what we were working with. And we did shoot with this tiny little setup a lot. So compact, it's easy to just clamp it up somewhere and then use the Smallrig app to control the light remotely. And we did that a lot. We set it up on a branch way up above this cave entrance and then used the app to turn it on and off to be like a kick light on our subject as he came in and out of the cave. I mean, how handy is that? It's amazing. And this was in the middle of the day, by the way. Bowen's mount. We use my little parabolic softbox from Smallrig on this a lot. And we would use that as our fill in a lot of the daytime scenes, just kind of getting it right on the subject. And again, the benefit of battery power is we were able to hold this thing in the river, right above the water on a little monopod, and it did great. So super versatile, highly recommend this to anybody who's doing any kind of narrative filmmaking. I love this light. Amazon Prime Day, July 8th and 9th. If any of this stuff looks like it would help you as much as it helped me, then that would be the time to get it and capitalize on those savings. By the way, I've got some really, really cool stuff coming your way. Again, we wrapped that short film. It was probably the hardest film I've ever made, but I learned an incredible amount and we documented the entire thing. So we have some really high quality behind the scenes videos coming up for you soon. I am just in the middle of like a lot of different things simultaneously, like picking up the threads and the scraps of my life that I just completely put on hold for like a month and a half straight, prepping and shooting this thing. So bear with me. Thank you to Smallrig. Thank you to you all. And a lot of more good stuff coming soon. All right. I drank too much energy drink today, for sure. No more Celsius for Kent. Okay, see you guys. Bye.
If you missed out on these deals, that'd be pretty scary, huh?